Other participants will join us soon. We'll be able to start.
Morning.
Hi, hello. We shall wait just 1 minute, give the time for the participants to join, and then we will start with the webinar.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Valentina. Hi.
Hello. Good morning.
As always, we will have a recording available later on, so we are posting the recordings on our social media, and we are also having this as a repository for other people interested in the future on the Silverstar platform that we have established within the ICSMAT project. So there is a section with the events and the information about the webinars, as well as the recordings are also available there. Since we want to share the knowledge and experience and invite different experts to basically tell us, what they are doing, what kind of practices they are using in order to establish innovation networks, because that's the main goal of the cooperation we have. Okay.
We are on streaming, if you want to check, but I see.
Yes, we are. So it worked. Finally. Okay. That's wonderful. So yes, so we are also, since we are also using the social media platforms, we have the live streaming on our Facebook page of the ICSMAT project, and it's also available for the persons interested in innovation. Okay, so today we are meeting with two experts sharing their knowledge on supporting innovation. So I would like to welcome you today to the webinar related to the topics of supporting innovation, social innovation, and business angels support. Today we gathered here with two invited experts. One is Bogumiła Kowalik, working in Poland and a partner of C-Connector project, and she will be sharing her experience on the project and the innovation they are creating using support mechanisms and also financing for the innovators. Bogumiła is a project manager at CreateHub Business Support Center in Kraków, and Rudi Wetzl-Piewald, the director of the Styria Business Hub, who is working with the social business approach and social innovation ecosystem. That is a slightly different approach from what we are used to in ICSMAT project. We are, as you see, meeting here with some of our project partners, but also the talks will be available to others interested in creating innovation, in using this kind of experience and innovation platforms both to support seniors, as in case of our project, but also to support business entities, SMEs, etc., in different areas. So I would like to invite firstly Rudi to present his experience on supporting innovation, and then we'll have a short Q&A session. And in the second part of the webinar, I will invite Bogumiła to present their experience with CEConnector project, and we'll have a Q&A session. So Rudi, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot. Good morning from my side as well. I hope the same sunny weather outside for you as for me today. Spring is coming. Yeah, thanks for the invitation. I'm going to share my thoughts with you in the next plus minus 30 minutes. We'll take it around 20 minutes. I hope it's fitting in for the presentation, and then some Q&A if you like. Good. So allow me to share screen. I like to do it without slides normally, but this time it makes more sense to do it with slides for sure. So let me see. This is the one. And let's see. If you have only the full screen of my presentation, that's the right one. Is this the one? Good. Because I have another 10 windows open here. Nice. So I really like to confront you with one of our nice mottos, which is return on investment for everyone. Because you might notice return of investment is actually kind of financial term, which is typical capitalism and all that stuff. And then we like to take those things to use them, but to modify them in a way that it makes sense for everyone in the world. Good. So who are we listening today? What is my person? So actually I have different backgrounds, but maybe one background is very important. I have been a social entrepreneur myself, so I'm really coming from practice, as I like to say. So I had one started 10 years ago with my own company, which was, or still is actually, a thriving refurbishment IT company. You might have such companies in your countries as well. I think most of the countries in Europe have it by now. When we started, we were the first one in Austria. Now, this is a very good one. Now there's more than 20 of the same kind. And you could, first of all, think, oh my God, that's all competition. First thing is that that's great, because this is what transformation makes. If you're the only one saving the world, you will stay the only one. That doesn't make any sense. So we need to have copying styles here, and this is good for business and it's good for society as well. But then I've changed around 8 years later, and I've become the board director of the Social Business Hub Styria, which is the association I'm going to present to you as well today. I have also another hat, which is we have a national board for social entrepreneurship. I'm a board member there as well. This is very interesting to see also in the structure of the development of the sector, that by now for a couple of years only, but we have a kind of national, let's say, trade union interest group that is really trying to support, to foster the conditions for social business, social entrepreneurship on a national and also an international basis, because there's a lot to do. And the good thing is that we have really a lot of trend-setting topics here, but obviously to make a bigger change, it needs to be delivered also to governments, to public administrations and other stakeholders. Good. Getting in touch is very easy with us. We have our website. We have an English website as well, of course. You have an email, and of course the whole social media. Good. Let's go to the topic then. I will make a short introduction to the terms of social entrepreneurship as we define it. Why I'm saying we define it, because different countries have, interestingly, different approaches. Sometimes it's 98% the same thing. But if we go to facts, sometimes it's a different way of defining it. We have been to Milan last week, for example, for another EU project. It was very interesting, together with our Spanish and Italian colleagues, to put the focus here. And as we could see, the mission is the same, but the approach is a little different, which is very fine. I will tell you a little bit about the Austrian one in this case. Most of all, it's easy to understand, it's good to understand where do we actually stand, because there's sometimes a little misunderstandings on the topic. And this is why I have the short graphics for you. So if you take the two poles, so let's say two extremes, in terms of full profit orientation on the one scale and full impact orientation on the other scale. I like to say, well, you have all kind of companies on non-profit approaches, or some of the in-between. This is where we are as well. And we especially are in the middle in this definition. Social and green entrepreneurship as well means that you don't have an extreme pole, neither in profit nor in impact. And this is good reason for that. I'm going to that as well, because it means that you want to have both. Yeah, you can not have full profit, which is not on behalf of people and planet. On the other hand, you cannot have full impact without looking at profit goals as well. Otherwise, it's not working well, especially if you want to keep your own agenda. So this is mainly where we stand in the middle. There's a lot of more definition. I'm not going to bore you with those. But what we do have a kind of path to say, how would we start? How would you go on if you want to be a social entrepreneur, you want to become one? Maybe as at the bottom line, what is important? Why should people do that anyway? What is the reason for that? I always like to, if I have more time, I would ask you for what is important for you in life, because normally every one of us has 2 or 3, maybe 4 topics in life to say, well, that's the most important one, or the other way, what is those things that are disturbing you most in your life? And again, each of you will have 2 or 3 topics. What is interesting, each of you will have different topics, yeah? So because we have literally hundreds of challenges in the world. We have a climate crisis. Right now we have a war, my gosh. We have hunger, we have demographic change, we have aging, which is part of this project as well. So there's so many topics. But what is so important in this case, it needs to be your topics that you really engage with, to really have this intrinsic motivation that you need to start a social enterprise, to have a social business entity here. And this is very important. That means that the first step, you take this problem, as we like to say, take a challenge, and you are looking, and if you're a startup, a typical Austrian way, I'm sure in many countries the same, this typical Austrian way would be, okay, now I have a problem that I'm affected with, or I'm caring, I want to care for. Now I'm gonna engage myself in a nonprofit organization, make a lot of awareness about the topic, and this is very good and very important. But it's maybe sometimes very often it's going to be stuck at the awareness phase as well. You might have a problem with budgets, because it's not that you get a lot of money for making awareness. You might have donation campaigns, but then that means if you want to be successful, you have to be very professional again. Otherwise, it's a lot of work, not a lot of money. It's a lot of volunteer work, obviously. That means it's quite hard to start something like this to be successful and long-lasting, because it's always asking you to exploit yourself to a certain degree, which is okay to a certain degree, but it's not okay long-lasting. So this is why it's not always the best case to start with. So this is why this idea of business came up as well. So you take as well a problem, a challenge, and say, okay, I'm going to make a solution here. I'm going to make a product. I'm going to make a service that really addressing positively this challenge to make a difference here. This could be a lot of different ones. I'm going to show you short examples later on. And a typical way to start a business, doesn't matter if it's social or not, you will stumble, you will learn, and you will grow your entrepreneurial mind. But this is also very important. There is no Elon Musks in social business, and I say thanks God to that, because this is not what we need. What we do need is a lot of people. We don't need genius. We need a lot of people going to start being activated on these topics and make their experiences. That doesn't mean that you're going to fail, don't worry. It's a learning process, obviously. If you go to the next step, you really manage, at least to a small scale, you manage to solve the problem because you made experience. What does really help? Very often, we tend to see the solution, but do not want to analyze the problem too much. Yeah? In this case, it's different. You have to be an expert, or to become an expert on the problem, on the challenge, to really make a feasible solution. And this is what's happening here. And yeah, step 5, you make profit. This is very interesting. It's totally allowed to have a good life. It's totally allowed to make profit. We are not talking about getting extremely rich. That's not the topic, I will say So you'll see later why. Because the next step is also you reinvest the profit. So it's not that you become rich on behalf of a social problem. It's rather that you grow the solution in different ways. You innovate the solution, very important, and you reinvest in the positive impact. And then it's the next one. You scale up the whole thing. Now we're in the startup section. You got to scale up. In the end, you really manage, if you manage to change the world, change society for the good. So this is a basic concept we work with to understand why it is necessary to have this entrepreneurial mind to make a difference here. Good. Best practice, very short. I actually just give you some of the logos. You might know some of them. It's probably better that you check yourself because it's too short time otherwise. I think one is very familiar, it's Too Good to Go, because it's already present in several countries. Those guys, actually, I think it's from Germany originally. They found out that a lot of food is wasted. I mean, they didn't have to find out. We all know that a lot of food is wasted, especially in restaurants and shops. It's a typical thing. You go to the bakery just 10 minutes before closing, and you see all the shelves are full with all those good stuff, or the supermarket the same, because it's part of the system that it has to be full to look better for the customer. Very strange, but it's true. So actually, it's a simple story for them is to say, they make partnerships with all over thousands of shops, supermarkets, whatever, to actually bring those goods, that food that is not going to be sold anymore, to have such little magic bags, as they call it, very nice. And at a certain time of the day, you can actually come to pick up the bags for a very good price. So it's very good for the customer as well. You don't know what's inside, which is a little tricky, but also this kind of gamification. People love it. It's spreading a lot. It's very, very growing a big style, and it's a good effect. Of course, if it in terms of food waste, because there's so much less food wasted. Fairphone, Atempa Helis. You just check yourself. It's just one of the more prominent, maybe. I'm sure you know many more as well if you go to the topic in your country as well. So it makes a lot of sense to see what is the concept of this social entrepreneurship. Very short definition then I will give you. It's not to be, yeah, that's what it is and it's great. It's rather to say, well, this is what it is and this is what it is not. It's just to make the difference, because otherwise it's a lots of mixture around. So most importantly, the core activity of a social entrepreneur, social enterprise is to result, the core activities and the core results have to address social or green challenges. Green means environmental challenges, of course. Then, of course, it's the entrepreneurial approach. So we're not talking about nonprofit here. This is very important. There are no volunteers or hardly any volunteers, because why? It's not allowed to have a company with volunteers. It would be very strange. You have to pay your people. That's good the way. It's core business only. So we are not talking about different forms like corporate social responsibility or charity or such things. It's got to be the reason why you have the business. Yeah. Sometimes we have, why I'm saying, because if you turn in terms of green and social washing, you have very different forms of companies who have a regular core business and then do a lot of good things, which is very nice. But if a crisis is coming, and right now we have a crisis, you can see very easily and very quickly that all those nice volunteer actions are going to reduce or not being there anymore, because now core business is important. Social business is core business in a good way. That's very important to see. You have to have a very sustainable business model. That means there are, at least at the beginning it might be, but in a midterm scale, there are no donations, there's no permanent grants, there's no subsidies. The most typical question a social entrepreneur gets, who is going to give you a grant for that? Who is going to give you subsidies? And the typical answer should be no one, because this has to be a sustainable business model. That means you have to pay the bills yourselves. Why is this so important? Because this is really what we need for this independence. You need to have entrepreneurial independence. If you're dependent on grants or subsidies, or if this is part of your strategy, it's very much so that someone else is defining what direction you're urging to. That means you cannot follow your own mission if someone else is paying you for maybe a different mission. So this is what is very important, but this is a very good thing as well, because that means the whole part of social innovation is in your hands only, for example. This is so important. Of course, you make corporations and all those things, but it's in your hands where to go, where the journey is going. Okay, you have, or you should have, let's say, a clear awareness about social entrepreneurship. Seems obvious, but it's not obvious all the time, because there are a lot of people around who are really starting out of their own intrinsic motivation, really good things, but they would not define themselves because they don't know the method. It makes sense to do so because there's a lot of support around, and it's a good community feeling as well. And it's also the difference, is it opportunistic or is it really that you want to do this? And last but not least, it's really important, and this is not 100% happening, I tell you, but to measure not only the financial, but also the social profit, because this is a credibility thing as well. That means there are very nice methods to find indicators for that, for your work, for example, and it gives you a lot of credibility. And this helps you in business again, because the customers might be B2C or B2B, they don't care. It's very important that they really see your mission, and this is the reason why they would address you for purchase, for consuming. Otherwise, they would not see a difference and they would just go to McDonald's maybe. Okay, so what's our fit in there? The Social Business Hub Styria is active operatively, I would say, for 3 years. Seems very new, but there was, or there still is, actually an association, the Social Business Club, that had been already found about 10 years ago. So we have professionalized, if you like, in recent years for many reasons. And the main reason we are here is we promote, support social innovations in many ways. And yeah, we inspire, advise the social entrepreneurs, we build strong networks and disseminate our expertise. So we have, or we try to have, our fair share towards a fair, sustainable society. So this is a kind of support organization. And we have some focus areas. One of that is the social entrepreneurship, obviously itself. A little more about this later. It's also social entrepreneurship. That means normally in social entrepreneurship, you're dealing mostly with small and medium enterprises, which is very nice. If you want to have contact to corporations, it's about the entrepreneurship as well. That means it's a lot about company culture. So we have also offers here to develop those things in companies, which is a very good thing, I can tell you. We are a lot in social innovation ecosystems, national and international. Yes, of course, we do EU programs as well. I can tell you there's a lot of interest from the European Commission on the topic, which is nice. And we see more and more different programs. So yeah, that's not advertising, but telling you social innovation is happening as well. Good. Yeah, social innovation in rural regions. That's important because it's normally social entrepreneurship, social business is supposed to be a kind of urban phenomenon, but it is not exactly. That means we have, for example, a report that says that 60%, yeah, that means a lot, 60% in our federal state of Styria in Austria, 60% of the ventures, as we call them, are in the main capital city of Graz. But I can say it's only 60%. Yeah? That means 40% is outside in all our 7 regions that we have here. So it makes a lot of sense to really reach out, and this is what we actively do, to activate people outside of the urban areas, because there's a lot of potential there, and there's a lot of different challenges in the rural regions, of course, as well, different ones than we have in the urban regions. Good. And we do, of course, research and strategy. So we have a very good connection to many stakeholders in the public administration, on the federal side, on the national side. And what they do need is they do need material. They do need studies of all kinds of reports to understand better what they can do to support the whole thing as well. In a nutshell, what we do in our own programs, you can see this line of there's all those social challenges on the left. Then we have those many ideas, and we're really happy that we have so many nice people with so many ideas in our federal states to really make difference. And now we are helping in the middle with our programs to really bring these ideas to life and support them to become impact ventures. because it's those ventures going out to make this positive change in the end. And so it's many things. It's a typical, it's an incubation approach that we have. And the incubation approach means that we have a lot of coaching, offering coaching, a lot of input, professional input, experts on many topics. We have a lot of networking activity going on, which is very important for those companies to be, and a huge ecosystem, the network in general. This is very true. This is what makes a difference in starting on your own or starting with such a support system. Because especially I can tell you, because when I started my company, there was nothing like this in the market. So it's a thing of doing your own. You have to make all those ecosystem work yourself. The mentoring you don't get. So it makes a big difference. And this is one of the reasons, by the way, why I'm working in this entity, because I would like to see those coming now. They have much better support. Talking about programs, we have a kind of 4 steps from really starting with the plain idea to make a difference, to make a social or green idea happening. It's the simple idea. We have an idea challenge once a year, for example, to make awareness about the topic and to really collect great ideas. The second stair would be that we have short trainings. That means we have an impact lab. And we have in basis training, actually, there's the word of bootcamp. I don't like the word, so we're going to change this. So how does it happen? Maybe we have this idea call at the beginning. Last time we had 64 ideas, which is quite a lot for a very small state like ours. And we pick actually the most interesting ideas, and especially the most people behind them, to invite those people to the basis trainings. And then on the 4th, so they can further develop those ideas to become a social business. And on the 3rd step, this is the main step, we have a 12-month incubation program where you can submit, and we actually accept up to 10 different ventures and teams that actually have 12 months of time. There's a lot of support from our side to really develop their idea and to found the company. So one of our goals in this program is, for example, you're supposed to found a company within those 12 months to come. Very good, because this Monday, so 2 days ago, we had the jury meeting for another batch. Really good ideas, and we're very happy to start the program again on May. And yeah, this is the main product that we have. And then there's the last one. This is the scaling operations. That means this is an offer for all those social business entities, social enterprises, which are already on the market, because this is really impressive. Only in our federal state, we have around 160 social enterprises already, or what we define social enterprise. How do we know? I will tell you later. And many of them are on the market for several years already. The oldest one is more than 30 years old, by the way. At that time, we didn't even have this definition. So for them, we have this program to make scaling operations, to even grow the impact, and really to measure the impact. Because many, as I say, many don't do that yet, because it seems a little complicated at the beginning and you don't see the methods, but there's nice methods for that. And this is where we want to catch them, to really measure the impact and also to publish the results for that constantly. Good. We have, of course, very important, we have a lot of community activities. So we have more than 160 actually already of social enterprises. We have regular events for them, community events. We have a big stakeholder ecosystem. This is also a strategy that we really follow on. It's very important. We have now a new testimonial campaign. So we have some, let's say, more prominent celebrities from our area who support the whole thing as well. And we have intensive communication work, very important to make awareness for the topic and to support everyone in the ecosystem. Doing this by social media, press work, and a lot of other activities. And last but not least, we have our own publications, also in English, by the way, so you can follow up on our website. In the English part, we have every second year, we have our report on the Styrian social business sector, so that we really have an update for the public as well to see what is the sector, what is key indicators, key figures for all of that. And as well, we have a magazine once a year, let's say for a little lower approach if you're not an expert on the topic, which of course is not necessary to be. Good. Finally, it's another motto: making the world a better place is neither art nor theory, it's just a practical attitude. Yeah, thanks a lot. Want to get in touch, just check our website or write us an email. You're very welcome to do so. All right. And then I'm gonna try to see the hardest part is to stop.
Yes, to stop presenting. Okay.
Okay, I'm getting there.
Thank you, Rudi. That was really inspiring. And it seems that you do a lot of intertwined and complex support. So you have a really well thought through practical support system for the entrepreneurs. Now I would like to open the Q&A session. So if some of you who are listening to us would like to.
Yeah. Maybe you can actually close my presentation, but I don't see what to do. It's amazing.
Okay, let's see.
I'm sure it's possible to do so.
Yes, I think so. Let's try.
Interesting. Hi.
It should, yeah.
Yeah,
no,
that was it. Thanks.
yeah,
Okay.
We've managed. Okay, so now we would like to open the Q&A sessions. I mean, my comment to your presentation was that the system that you have created is really impressive, and basically thank you for the explanation on how the social entrepreneurship works, because we are in our countries aware that this kind of approach is available and is working. We also know some existing social entrepreneurships working in our countries, but it's good to know that there is this opportunity to have this kind of approach with addressing the social challenge first and then doing business, and not the other way around, basically. Do we have any comments, questions?
I have one question. My company is inside a social hub. It's an incubator for social companies. And we are talking about the figure of the social manager. As you said, to evaluate the impact of the social activity, not only in the social entrepreneurship or businesses, but also in the other business. Did you have any figure like that, or are you moving in the same direction?
I'm not sure if I understood everything, but what I can tell you, we have one thing. For the German-speaking countries, but not only, several years ago, there has been developed a so-called social reporting standard. This is really a pattern. I can give you later in the link to that. It's actually available in 6 or 7 languages by now. This is a very nice pattern that has been developed by Ashoka Germany and some other partners, some universities together, to really catch the topic on a, let's say, scientific way, which is very important, and also a practical way to get there. So this is what we actually offer to the companies, different companies, doing for ourselves as well, to really have a certain standard on how to measure things, because this is a kind of black box for many people so far, to see where to start, where to end. Because if you go to a regular evaluation, for example, CO2 equivalence, you could have hundreds of indicators, and still they don't fit to what you do. So this is a very individual approach as well, to say, use the standard, and out of the standard, you analyze the social impact of what you do. In this kind of theory, you might know, is this input, output, outcome, impact theory. It's really to say, to make it comparable to a certain degree, but it's not so important to compare those things. It's rather important to really have a credible statement about the impact you do have, and that you can also have good ways of transporting those impact indicators to the outside world. But this is the most important thing. You don't do it for yourself only. This would be too much, using too much resources for that. You're really supposed to use that for your own good business as well approach. And yes, we normally, I would say, we don't do this for other companies. I don't think it's very reasonable to do so, unless this is what you offer as your core business. We actually spread the knowledge about the social reporting standard, because in the end, it's got to be done yourself, because of course, you know your company best yourself. So we actually show the method and support in workshops, for example, how to use it and how to make this report pattern.
Yes, thanks. It's very similar to our approach. So we know that standard and we use it in social enterprises, but we would like to see if it's possible to increase more the awareness of the other companies. That is the crucial point. So to identify how to support, but it's very useful for us to know that you did it with seminars, with events.
This is the way we do it. The spreading is that we spread a lot in ways of that they should do it. We have one thing in Austria, I can quickly tell you, which is a milestone on a national basis. We have now a label which is called Verified Social Enterprise. And in order to submit for this label, you have to submit your theory of change, if you like, your indicators and your proven impact. And if you have this is the first, in Austria, it's the first ever way of being recognized by the state to be a social enterprise and to make social impact, because we didn't have that before. So it is actually a lot of benefit if you become a verified social enterprise. So this is a way we promote actually to do the report, or to it's not actually, you don't have to do the whole report, but you have really to submit a couple of pages where you can properly explain this is the way we make impact, also with indicators.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. I think it would be interesting to know more, and also, continuing the discussion, asking about the benefits of running a social business in relation to your clients, to customers, building cooperation, because I would say that having this kind of approach is also, as you said, with the label, it shows that you are a little bit different entity, and for certain types of customers or certain types of entities that would like to cooperate with you, that might be also a business advantage, right? Mm-hmm.
This is actually the reason for this label would exactly be that you can be officially recognized like this, because I mean we have I think almost 600,000 companies in Austria, registered companies, and from that it's I think 2,000 social enterprises so far. It's not a lot, and it will grow a lot, but of course we will not take over the market here. It's not necessary either. So it's important in a world where everyone is talking about sustainability, but this is a good proof that you really mean it and you really can prove it. And this is exactly, as you say, one of the benefits you have is, for example, to be easier recognized for public purchasing process, for example. So the publicant is spending a lot of money and actually it's supposed to spend it in the right channels, if you like, and this is a good way to show that. But actually we want to go even further. That means if you really have this registered status, the national, the Social Entrepreneurship Network Austria, which is this national board, actually has the task to really improve the framework in which we work with. That means in best case, and this is realistic as well to say, if you're a registered social enterprise, you might have certain tax breaks, for example. You might have better chances in receiving certain grants at the beginning, not always, don't worry, or for growing. Just having better conditions. Why? Because it's obvious if you have such a company, you will see it's more work in the end, yeah? Because it's not only for profit, which is hard enough. It's really to make a real sense in the bottom line, to have environmental and social profits, as we really say, to reduce them and to monitor those things. So it's actually, all those social entrepreneurs do much more work than they actually would do if they don't consider those contents. So that means in the moment you don't have any rewards for that. It's really hard to do so, and it's actually a break as well that so many people would not even think in this direction. Though actually we do know that in the European Union, every 25% of all startups are simple social startups. Yeah, so people want to do this. Yeah, they take on them to do this extra work. So it's a lot of improvement here. I can tell you, especially about 50% of all business ideas automatically already consider to do their business in a sustainable way. That doesn't mean automatically in the core business, but they want to say, whatever business I'm going to realize, I don't want to harm people or environment. Seems obvious, but it's not the case, as we know. But 50% of them, so if I start a business, I want to do it this way. So we need to support those people in different ways that we really have the chance to realize, because otherwise, sooner or later, they might just change to, let's say, a very regular approach to business, which means make profit and forget about the rest.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions, comments to the first presentation? And if not, I would like to invite Bogumiła with her presentation. We'll actually follow through with the topic because we already mentioned the support systems, we already mentioned startups, and this is the main focus of C-Connector project with different support systems and the usage of business angels support. So Bogumiła,
yes,
the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will share my screen, okay? Okay, can you see?
Yes, everything is working fine.
Thank you very much. Okay. My name is Bogumiła Kowalik, and as Eva said, I represent CreateHub, which is a business support center in Kraków. Today, I would like to present you an international project, C-Connector, which presents an innovative approach to support early-stage startups. As I said in the beginning, the C-Connector project is the project implemented under the Interreg CENTRAL EUROPE Programme. The partners in the project are institutions from Czech Republic, Croatia, Germany, Slovenia, Hungary, and Poland. And these are both public institutions offering support for startups, private entities offering support for startups, as well as some of them are venture capital funds. So what is the main project objective? Startups are key drivers of innovation and therefore future prosperity of Central Europe. Despite the positive change in terms of available financial schemes for them, there is still significant financial gap between so-called free app, which stands for family, friends, and fools, and venture capital. Additionally, we can identify fragmented, low-mature business angel ecosystem in comparison to what is happening, what's going on in the markets like in the UK or the United States. And this happened in terms both of quantity, the number of business angels, and the quality, investment competencies. Therefore, the main project objective is to build ecosystem to close this gap. And the good practice comes also from the UK, and it shows that one of the best possible way to establish such ecosystem is to build linkages between private investors, business angels, and public providers, which both invest in startups. This means creating a so-called angel co-investment funds. And so what this magical word and what this angel co-investment funds are? So as an example of the UK shows, they are the specific financial schemes of governmentally led public co-investment funds. And such funds in the UK, they have their own legal structure, and they are mostly established as funds where the shareholders are most often one single public body, which fully controls the whole operation and also provides 100% of the public finances. Sometimes it might be also a group of 2 or more public bodies that cooperate with some private capital providers, like for example, the bank. And in the ACIF in the UK, private leverage is also provided by the business angels. But the business angels are not joining the ACIFs itself, but they invest in ad hoc principles as co-investors. But what does it look in our project? And for the purpose of our project, which is realized in a completely different environment, just like in the UK, we have created our own ACIF structure, which consists of 3 contributing parties. The first one is the provider of public leverage. The second is association of the private business angels. And the third one is the facilitator. Public providers in our environment are independent parties which provide financial or in-kind contribution for startups. And the decision making is approved, is done by the respective policy makers. The role of the facilitator in such a in our ACIF system play the CE Connector project partners, so the institutions that take part in the project, just like CreateHub. And the role of the facilitator is to cooperate, to facilitate the whole process of investment and cooperate with both public providers and business angels and build linkages between them in order they support both the startups. So what are the main benefits of such a co-financing? So first of all, co-investing provides an opportunity for bridging the gap between 3F, just as I said in the beginning of my presentation, thanks to the cooperation of the private part of the investment, which is done in the form of financial investment, smart money, or mentoring, and the public part of the investment, which is made either in the form of in-kind support or by direct financial investment. And what are the other benefits? And it's of course pooling of available instrument sums, moderating individual risk, collaborating and bringing together more knowledge and expertise, and getting access for business angels to invest into startups which would not be identified on their individual level. And what does it look in practice? So our ACIF pilot project stands that all applicants, both startups and business angels, must submit an application form via our website, ceconnector.eu. And this is the page, how it looks like. This is the place where startups can describe their idea. Also, the business angel can also participate in our project, and therefore they have to also fill in this form that is available on our CE Connector webpage. And what happens next? After the startup enrolls to our project, we conduct the process of startup scouting. And startup scouting is the process not only of searching, but also the process of identifying, evaluating, and selecting the best startups to work with. Therefore, we invite the startups for an interview. And during the interview, the startup provides us the precise matchmaking profile. And so they provide us with many information like the business type, product type, target market, also the other attributes like which are very important for investment, like team information, revenue information, source of current funding, or funding already raised. After the interview, the startup provides us with the pitch deck, presentation of the film video, and these information are very essential and very important because they are accessible for any potential investors wishing to meet with the startup. So what happens next and what are the direct activities for startups? So first of all, these are activities like matching with business angels from partner territories, as well as the business angels from Poland. And we organize demo days or one-to-one meetings. Another activity which we developed is the cooperation platform. We can look at, okay, you can see here. This is a platform where we put the information about our startups that have enrolled to our project. And both investors from Poland and partner countries have this access to this platform. And as you can see on this platform, there are information, there are either pitch decks or films about the startups that take part in our project. Another activity aimed at startups are advisory services on available public funds. We also provide startups with the information, for example, on how to prepare pitches or one-pagers, because these are very important tools which they present to the potential business angels or other investors. And as regards the business angels, we also, first of all, we provide them with the new business opportunities, because as you know, scouting for startup is rather demanding and time-consuming process. And investors are always in search of businesses from the growing markets and sectors which interest them or in which they have experience. And our selection platform makes searching for the right startup more convenient. Furthermore, our project, thanks to the meetings between business angels, gives them the opportunity to grow their network. They also have a chance to invest as a group of business angels, and in that way improving their investment potential as well as reducing this risk. The project gives them also an insight to the public support schemes available in Poland and in the partner countries. And the last one is we also organize a kind of to-be angel workshops. And these workshops are aimed at individuals who would like to become business angels, but do not know exactly how to do it. And during this workshop, we discuss topics like, for example, why is it worth to become a business angel? What is the startup? Or what is, for example, the startup financing cycle? And as a result of this all activities, we try to create this whole ACIF ecosystem and create and sustain linkages between business angels inside of this territorial ecosystem, the linkages between business angels and providers of public leverage, and business angels and industry. Of course, the whole process looks different in every country because, of course, there are different environments in Poland, in Hungary, or in Germany. But the description of these systems is not the time for this to discuss this during this presentation. But you can see the outputs and the information about the project on our webpage createhub.pl or on our website on C-Connector. And if you have if you would like to have more information about the project itself, you can also contact me directly via email. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bogumiła. So once again, we open the Q&A sessions. If you have any questions,
there are 5 minutes.
Well, we can. If you can, we can stay a bit longer. If we have questions, comments, then we are open for that. I would say that the created ecosystem sounds really interesting, and it's also an innovative approach to support both startups, but also I think it's worth mentioning that it's also an opportunity to cooperate with business angels, which is not that very common support for business entities. So I would be really interested in your comment, Bogusia, on growth of this network of business angels. I mean, you have some experience because the project is running for quite some time.
You know, every country, just as I said during my presentation, every country operates in a different environment, and there are different kind of business angels and public provider schemes, and the project is coming to an end. What I can say, it's really difficult to develop such ACIF ecosystem. We try to do it in our way. For example, in Poland, we cooperate with one association of business angels, which gather many business angels from the whole Poland, and they also say that this project is very helpful also for them, because in our country, in Poland, there are so many public schemes for the startups. They are not always willing to look for the business angels. So this market, I think, is not really well developed yet in Poland, and I think in the Central Europe as well. In comparison, for example, to UK or I don't say United States, because they're completely different market.
True. We are also aware of that the public support system and also the European funding as well is working, and basically I would say that business entities are used to those traditional, I would say traditional schemes of support. So I think that is why also that the C Connector project is so unique with trying to pilot this new approach and invite business angels to create this kind of support.
It's really, I think it's a really very interesting idea, but as I said, it needs time to be developed, because there are so many public schemes, and the other thing is that if business angel invest in a startup, the startup needs to give them some shares, and if they get the money from the public schemes, they just have to do what they said they will do, and they not have to give them any shares. So I think there's a lot of work to do in our country and also in the Central Europe in that field. Yes,
but that's really interesting approach, and it's also worth growing. You also said that you are doing some kind of workshops and trainings on how to become business angels. What is your experience on that? Or maybe you know some more about other countries, because I mean, even here we are represented with and present with our project partners from Czech Republic, from Slovakia, from Austria. So maybe you also have some experience in your partnership with German or Slovenian partners.
And for example, in Germany, in Germany there is a different potential as regards the business angels, because many of business angels are elderly people who have some amount of money they would like to invest. So, for example, in Germany, they make the to be angel events and workshops for them, for such elderly people. For example, in our country, in Poland, most of the business angels are the former, for example, corporate directors or CEO. And they now have a kind of a lump of more money. They do not have to work, I would say, so much. So they want to invest and develop their own money. So there are different kinds of circumstances, different kind of environment in every country.
Thank you so much. Any other comments, questions from our participants? I would like to also invite you all to look closely to our support system that we have created in ICASmart project. As I said at the very beginning, we have the Silver Star platform working and available, and this is mostly for networking purposes. So we have established a system and a platform itself for the innovators, for people who have different business models and different approach, or they just want to establish a startup. They're thinking about their own ventures, but also care providers and the end users of the ideas that have been created. We also have there a presentation of the pilot actions that were developed within our regions. So you can also look there. And if you would like to join us, then feel free to join the Silver Star platform as another ecosystem to support innovation in the Central Europe region partners. So thank you very much for your presentations. I think it was very inspiring, and we have another approach to support innovation, to support SMEs, to try to work with startups and develop ideas for a better word, I would say, to support and develop social challenges that we are facing right now. So thank you very much. As I said, we have the recording on the platforms, and we also are available on our social media. So if you look through both LinkedIn and Facebook using the abbreviation of the project, the ICASmart, you will find us there. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Once again, thank you for your input.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.